I have a theory that God only lets us live 80 to 100 because that's the most you can do. Even if you could make it past 100, the world would have changed so much that you'd be like, what the fuck is... You blow your brains out. Right, because time is too much. 80 to 100, there's the most before your brain breaks. Right? Like, I'll give you an example. My grandpa, the most my grandpa could do was 1991. Right? My grandpa was a good man. He was a war hero. And when I say he was a good man, I mean for his time. He was a good man for his time. Now? Before his time, he was a good-ass dude. My grandpa, he would lose his shit every time he'd see an interracial couple. He'd have like a mini meltdown. I remember we were at a steakhouse in 1991, and just some nice interracial couple, just nice couple holding hands. My grandpa's like, "You believe this shit?" And we're like, "What the fuck?" He's like, "Look at him, rubbing in our faces." I'm going, "I don't know, Grandpa." He's like, "You see this?" I'm like, "We're in first grade, Grandpa. We don't have a lot of opinions on the subject." He's like, "Look at her. I get having sex with him." We're like, "What?" He goes, "Vietnam, you had to have sex with some of them. We didn't marry them." And I think that's when God was like, "Okie dokie, that's a wrap on Harold." That was like the most he could do. God was like, "All right, he's making some people nervous at the steakhouse." Like, Grandpa had to go. He couldn't, that's the most he could do. Right? Could you imagine if my grandpa lived now? Yeah, he couldn't do now. He's a good man for that time, but now? That guy that I just described? My grandpa'd be walking around going, "They're cutting their dicks off." Like, what the fuck? My grandpa'd be like the oldest mall shooter, like, "Ah! I didn't go to war for this shit." No, he had to die in 1991. Huh? And it sounds crazy laughing at my old grandpa, the way he thought about things, but that's how life is. That's us. You're gonna someday hit your breaking point. That's how time works. That's my the thing I hate most about young people is the way they look backwards. I don't know what they're teaching at colleges nowadays, but I think they're teaching them like the world's only been good for 6 years. And everything before it was sexist and racist. It wasn't. Things just were. And things now just are, and things later will be. That's how it works. Yeah. You can't look backwards and then judge them. And that's what young people do. That's how they look at history. They'll look backwards and be like, if I was alive back then, I'd be like, "Can I have a word with you, Mr. Hitler?" You're like, shut the fuck up. No, you wouldn't. And you're stupid if you think you would. You would just be the way the people of your time were, the same way you are now. Like, literally, if I was on this exact stage 20 years ago, and I was like, "Men can have their periods," you would all leave and be like, "I think they let a retarded guy perform tonight. What the fuck was he talking about up there?" But no, people still walk around, "I've always thought like this, and I knew Gary was a woman from the moment." Like, shut up. No, you didn't. These are new things it's very flustering. But I think that's how time works. Things are always changing. Sometimes things change that weren't even bad. They just change because there was no reason to even change it. But if you don't change with it, you're a piece of shit. Right? It wasn't even bad, but you used it, and they're like, that's what, right? I'll give you an example. Like, my grandma, she used to work with the special needs kids. She did it her whole life, and that's why my family kind of took on the tradition. It's a family thing. But my grandma worked with special needs for, 60 years. And she called them mongoloids. She did. She'd literally be on the phone. She'd be like, "All right, we're going down to the church to pick up some of the mongoloids." Huh? And then my mom would yell at her mom, like, "Mom! They're called retarded, Mom!" Right, that was my mom being woke in 1972. "They're called retards! Get with the time, Mom!" Right? Right? That's what a liberal, outspoken woman sounded like in 1972. right? And now my mom is old, and she's a good lady, but she's old, and times change, you know? She'll slip, you know, she'll be on the phone, she'll be like, we're going to the March of Dimes with some of the retarded boys, you know? Right? And then me and my sisters are like, Mom! You know? It's how it's always, someday I'll be old, you know? I'm gonna be like, I work with the special needs, and then a girl with a green mohawk's gonna pop out of a bush. Hey, asshole! And I'm like, I'm old. She's like, they're not called that. They're called ice cream enthusiasts or whatever the fuck, whatever it'll be. Whatever, I don't know. Whatever it'll be. They're called terrific huggers, or I don't know what is. Who knows? Who knows?